Hi everyone, Bo here, Black opinionated woman. For those of you new to my channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to get right on into it. So, I'm middle aged now, and no one told me that I would become a full blown hypochondriac. Okay. And it was right in my early 40s that I started experiencing this unprecedented level of hypochondria. I honestly, this was actually pre-COVID, where I started like getting nervous about everything. Okay. And that's when you start seeing, so it started when you would see people like family, friends, whatever, they start passing away. You get to that age where you're no longer experiencing a ton of things to celebrate, right? You're not experiencing a lot of, marriages and graduations and births of babies. Usually around that age, you experience a lot of death, or you start to experience death, or you start to hear the death of marriages or whatever like that, right? So when surrounded by like this type of thing happening, you start, or at least I did, I started becoming a full blown hypochondriac. And let me tell you, I have been a disaster for 8 years. I remember I did not know that I was having anxiety. Now, everybody claims to be an introvert or they have anxiety or all these things, right? No, I was having full blown anxiety. I had anxiety attacks and didn't realize that was what was happening to me. And so there were times when I really thought I was having a heart attack. And they were like, there's nothing wrong with your heart. I was so psychotic about it. I went to my primary care doctor several times. I went to the ER. I went and saw a heart specialist. And the heart specialist that one time, she was looking at me sideways like, I can't diagnose you mentally. I mean, but seriously, if there was something wrong with your heart, we would catch it. I mean, I wore a Holter monitor and everything. And they're like, whatever is going on with you, you need to figure that out because this isn't a heart attack you're having. And so I figured out after going to different people, I was having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I remember I would be at work and I didn't want anybody to know because I was like so embarrassed. I would go hide out in the bathroom, like, and I couldn't figure out what is wrong with me. So as I've gone through my 40s, you know, I've seen various levels of escalation. I started escalating until I started realizing like, okay, it's you. Like you got to figure this out. And I remember during the time of the pandemic, I was so freaked out at one point because you're like consuming so much of the news. I had to stop consuming the news. I'll never forget. I was thinking about, people were getting ill from this and all kinds of stuff, right? From the COVID. And I remember at one point I had freaked myself out so much that I started like creating these symptoms like out of nowhere. So I go downstairs, I'm like wrapped up in a blanket, eyes are moist, by the way. Full on moisture because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to my husband. And I'm like, I think I got COVID. And he looked at me. Now keep in mind we have all had to like social distance and everything. He's like, well then take yourself upstairs with your COVID self because you don't have COVID, right? And I really thought I was checking up out of there. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I'm not gonna see my kids. I'm done. Like I was like, I mean, I created this whole scenario where I thought I had it all in the span of about a half hour. I was like, well then just go on the stairs and die by yourself. Like because I think he just knew like, okay, let me tone her down by not feeding into this. I was so psychotic about it that I mean, I started crying. He was like, he had to literally stop and was like, you don't have COVID. He's like, what you have is you. Like you're I don't know why you're getting like this, but something is going on that it's causing you to freak out about everything. Within about 15, 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, everything that I thought I felt went away. And he was like, "You need a drink or something?" No, he's not plying me with alcohol and if everything is going wrong. But he was just looking at me like, "There's nothing wrong with you." And over time, and I think because when you start to see people get ill, pass away, you see people on TV, whatever, I don't know what it was, but I became a hypochondriac. I, let me tell you, every year I go to my doctor and I walk up in there for my primary care visit. And let me tell you, I think they just know me by now because I already come in on 10. My blood pressure is normal, but usually the first time they take it, it's high. And they're like, so the last time I went in there, they took it one time because I had to mentally tell myself, you're not dying of congestive heart failure. Every time I go in there, I'm like, you know how you have to get your like EKG or whatever it is when they hook you up and it's like your normal vitals. And I'm like, is it bad? And the lady is like laughing. And I'm like, is it? You can just tell me. She's like, everything is fine, but the doctor has to tell you that. And of course, they're like, everything is normal. But every year I get a script, a referral or whatever to go see a heart specialist because he's like, if it'll make you feel better, because you talk about these things that bother you, then go see one. But I remember every time I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I find I can like calm myself down. All I know is every time something goes on now, I'm concerned. I'm like, is it cancer? If I get a headache, I'm like, is this an aneurysm? You know, when I feel like stress or tightness in my chest, I'm like, am I having a heart attack? Is this congestive heart failure? Because every year I go into my primary care doctor, I'm like, how long do I have? I'm like, serious. I'm a full blown hypochondriac. So my husband, if I'm telling him something's wrong, he's like, okay, so let's talk about wrong. Let me tell you how on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I honestly thought I didn't realize I was stressed about something that was bothering me. And I couldn't get my body to calm down. And I was like, I can't breathe. I literally could not breathe. And I go into the ER and they were like, do you realize basically this is anxiety? And I was like, I'm not anxious. They're like, I'm like, are you sure it's not congestive heart failure? I am having a heart attack or something. And they were like, we're going to give you something. Because they ran on my vitals. They were like, you're fine. My blood pressure was so high, but everything was fine. They were like, there's nothing wrong with your heart. For the first time, they had to give me something to bring me down. And I was like, what the heck did you just give me? They're like, you'll feel better. Because I didn't want them to give me anything. My husband's like, maybe you should take it. You never take anything. No, I'm not on medication, guys. No. But where I'm going with this was, I most of the time I have been doing so much better with it, but I did not realize that it affected me so much when people get sick, like if someone dies, the death of a relationship, it's not even mine. And I don't know why I was internalizing it so much at middle age. So then I started fussing at my niece and nephews. My nieces and nephews are a little younger than my husband's. So I started fussing at them. I'm like, this is all your fault, guys. You guys aren't getting married enough or having enough babies. We don't have anything to celebrate. And basically what I was getting at was I feel like when you become middle age, oftentimes you go through this period where you're not celebrating the marriages and graduations and the birth of babies. Because around that time, you generally have gone through all that, or your peers have gone through that, right? Usually, what you're experiencing are more deaths. You know, your grandparents are getting older, great grandparents, all that kind of stuff, or relationships are going sour. Maybe someone is experiencing a hard time with something else, someone gets sick. And so I don't know what it was, but I did not know that when I became middle aged, I was going to be a hypochondriac. If I forget someone's name, all of a sudden I'm freaked out. I'm like, is this dementia? Is this dementia? Oh my gosh. Like, it bugs me. Or like when you go in, like, a room for another room for something, and you're like, what did I come here for? Or when you're talking to people and then all of a sudden you lose your train of thought. I'm like, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. Is this, is this a sign of the end? Is this the sign of the end? And we were having a conversation at work about a week or so ago. And we were talking about how many more summers you have. How many more summers do you have? And since, I'm on the other side of 40, closer to 50, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, you think about it, you're more than halfway through your life. The average lifespan is in the 70s, 80s, right? So at the ripe old age of 48, soon to be 49, I'm like, more than half of my life is gone. And we were like, look, you just let that one sink in. You start thinking, how many summers do I realistically have left? How many summers do you have left? And I'm telling you, this middle age thing, now, let me just say, I'm not walking around on a daily basis experiencing doom and gloom. That's not it. But, things were put into perspective. And so now I'm still wrestling with how do I maintain a healthy level of concern without going all the way in on something, right? Sometimes you may just be experiencing just aches and pains. Sometimes there could be something wrong. Good Lord, I'm so sorry. Anyway, the point I'm making is I never knew I was going to be a hypochondriac. I did not expect that when I got into my 40s, that I was going to always think I was going to die. And I don't know if anybody has experienced that. Because I remember one person I was talking to one time, he used to always dream that he was going to die. Like, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's horrible. That's a nightmare. But I'm in this space right now where I feel like I always think I'm going to die or something's wrong with me. And even when I think they come back with healthy reports like, you know, these things look good, maybe you should cut back on this, but you're fine. It never seems to be good enough. Well, anyway, that that's all I've got. I don't know. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Is it just me? All right. Have a good one. Don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and send this out to everyone you know. All right.